All right. Let's pull everything together here. I'm gonna drop down the music, see if that's a decent balance level. Let me check in on my sound here, see if it comes through okay. It's a little quiet. I could probably stand to turn that up a smidge. It's a little quiet. I could probably stand to there we go. And I'm going to push my volume up a little bit more. There we go. And let's see. Let's rearrange our screens so we have visibility. And hey guys, how you doing? My name's Phil. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. We're creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition using the 2024 rules. I need to turn that sound down a little bit. That should probably be okay. There, okay, that should be fine. Like, subscribe, bell icon, notification. Here's a bunch of books that we've already created on DMsGuild. They all have free previews. They're chock full of my art and ideas. You're welcome to read them through. If you think they're cool, consider picking up some of them. Spelljammer Combat and Exploration is the core mechanics that we're using to build the books that we're working on today. Here's our campaign workbench, the Kaiju and Construct Eberron Spelljammer Bastion Campaign that we've been working on. This is episode 11 of creating this campaign idea. Basically, we're having spelljammers in orbit around Eberron. Let's get this out of the way. So yeah, Eberron. Here's the 12 moons that are currently in orbit around Eberron. Each square is 10,000 miles. The moon of Shavareth is the furthest out, 220,000 miles away. Among the orbits, or the orbital paths of the moon, are the Tiers of Sybaris, a chain of asteroid belts of crystals and precious metals and rock and stuff that are in orbit. It's an asteroid belt, basically. Right now, these are the only significant chunks we have mapped, but we have plenty of space down here and further on to the map to have additional areas, but I don't think the campaign needs that. I think the campaign is going to be pretty much limited to this area inside here, basically. I just can't imagine. We're playing from level 5 to 14. And I think there's enough going on in the multiverse here in this area to keep their attention for the 9 levels. Hey, what's going on, Steve? Is the sound, is my volume and the music balance, Steve, do those sound pretty good today? I've been tinkering with it, and I think I found a good mix. But, so yeah, this is where we've been cataloging all the information for the campaign. Basically, we're fighting space kaiju on asteroid communities, XCOM 2 style, defending communities with Mecha and a dwarven citadel. So, excellent. Thanks, Steve. I'm going to, drop here into the Warforged Machines work in progress. This is where we've been creating the Mecha. Based on the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document that we have here. And you are most welcome to check this out. It also has an extensive free preview, but if you just click on here, you'll be able to see. Let's drop down to pre-generated ships. Here we go. So we're looking at vessels that are measured in squares of 50 feet. And fighter craft are measured in squares of 5 feet. So a fighter craft can be up to 50 feet in size and operate with a minor helm, which is like 400 gold. It's super cheap to build one. A warbird is an example of the largest model that can still be powered by a minor helm. It's 50 feet in size, occupying a 10 by 10 space at the 5 foot scale. Vessels that are larger than 50 feet require a major helm, which would normally operate as you would expect it to in a Spelljammer campaign, and they're capable of carrying multiple fighter craft on them. But the minor, you could hook a major Spelljamming helm to a fighter craft. That'd be fine. But you can keep them cheap and plentiful by just giving them the minor helm. The minor helm, when you're in open space, like if you're in orbit around a planet or like in a cluster of asteroids or something like that, Mecha on their own, they can travel 1,000 miles per 24 hours. or roughly 50 miles per hour. And the vessels, the major helms, they can travel 10,000 miles per 24 hours, or roughly 500 miles per hour. So the vessels, the major helms, go 10 times faster than the minor helms are capable of performing. And so that difference in speed means you need to have vessels carrying fighter craft from one location to another, or you're going to pay out stupid amounts of money to have major helm fighter craft. But assuming that you have minor helms, if you're in a common orbit, like if you're in a common gravity field, or if you're in the gravity field of like a vessel, like a ship that's capable of carrying you, like for example, this cuttlefish is an Illithid fighter craft. It's 20 feet in size, and the Illithid nautiloid is 200 feet in size. So I could fit literally 5 of those scuttlefish inside one 50-foot square, and they could just be all strewn on the bottom of the ship, or with their own tentacles gripping the base of these tentacles here up towards the frame. You could have dozens of cuttlefish fighter craft on a single Illithid nautiloid, and these are only the 250-foot models. The 500-foot model, the Dwarven Citadel, still not 100% happy with the profile here, but I'm pretty happy with the face of it. These are 50-foot squares, so this is a 10 by 10 space that's effectively occupied by one ship, so it's 500 feet in size. And these mecha that we're building for the instead of being fish-shaped or bird-shaped or insect-shaped mecha or spirit warriors, they're humanoid shaped, so they can pick up weapons and attack with them. So currently the team has 20-foot mecha. A 20-foot mecha, again, inside of a 50-foot square, you could easily have 5 mecha sitting inside that space. So you can see here we have a hangar bay door here of the Dwarven's Mouth, 100 feet wide, 50 feet tall. This could easily accommodate an entire squadron of mecha that could then both defend the citadel from small attackers, but also dive into a community and be able to like actually maneuver around inside the buildings and fight creatures. So the community is being attacked by kaiju. As you can see here, this is a disc. This is like a 2-dimensional disc that's basically representing the Eberron, cyberspace, as it were, Eberron space. If we think about it, what we're really looking at, and again, using just normal space physics to bounce off of. Jump up here, and we look at our system. If this is Eberron here, and we've got the plane where all the moons are on, right? In general, they're all going to form this singular plane to operate within. But the gravity of this place, the actual air envelope and stuff, that's a horrible circle, but it's circular. Let's switch back to a round brush tool over here. 0, 100%, brush 100%, good. Oh god, the perfectionist in me hates this. All right, so this is where we're actually at. So the actual space that's mostly being used is here, but because of the nature of Spelljammer, whatever space you occupy, in this case it'd be a 500,000 mile space, is basically what the Eberron system occupies. That includes X, Y, and Z axis. So what we're seeing here is a massive expanse of unused airspace in Eberron, where all the cluster of tiers and asteroids and the moons themselves are all compacted into this tight little orbit here. But it's perfectly possible that we could have a rogue cluster of asteroids like here, or like over here or here, that have a large enough vegetation amount of vegetable material to be able to produce a large enough pocket of air that creatures could live, like air-breathing creatures can live in that space. There could also be large pockets of like water. There could be whole water regions. It's just suspended, saturated water area that's got like Kuatoa, Sawagan, Merfolk, Tritons, stuff like that inside of those spaces. And there's a moon missing from Eberron when Dalcor got sealed off from co-terminating with With Eberron, its moon disappeared. Well, it's very possible that the moon is just in an incredibly skewed orbit, and that it's still out there. I believe I think it's 200. I think it's supposed to be 240,000 miles distance, while Shavarith is the furthest currently known of 220,000. So that means there's a skewed angle that only intercepts Shavarith, anywhere near Shavarith, like maybe twice a year, assuming they're on the same orbital speed. But it could be hundreds of years before Shavarith and Dalcor are anywhere near each other astrologically in the system. So Dalcor could be making these sweeps at the outer edges of the moon, of the planet's orbit, and having all sorts of nightmare creatures spawning out there that are slowly working their way inward towards the interior. There could be all sorts of societies that are being enslaved right now in these lower recesses or these outer ranges that we just have no idea about right now. So there's kaiju that are coming and attacking the asteroid community where the heroes begin the campaign. And the kaiju don't come from along this plane. The kaiju come from the depths. So they come from down here. So we know that off of the known disk, there are nightmare creatures and far realm reaches that are just massive and deadly for just normal humanoids. It requires Spelljammer ships to even try to explore it. No one does. Most of those explorations have not returned. So everyone knows it's a threat, but only now more and more kaiju are starting to arrive. So we know that there's some sort of deep disturbance. And since we can't guarantee there's any vegetation that can provide oxygen down here, it's just a poison sea. The mass of the poison sea is all the air outside of the fresh air zone. These are fresh air zones inside here. All these squares represent areas that have enough vegetation to provide air for the environment around them. So this is generally representing the area that has clean air, fresh air that can be breathed normally while flying from asteroid cluster to asteroid cluster. Everything outside of this this 10,000 mile emanation, everything beyond that becomes poison. So the poison sea is foul air. The way that foul air works is that if you breathe it, you have the poison condition until you can get a breath of fresh air. So when you want to travel from, like, say, here to here, you're gonna have to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of poison sea. The entire expanse down here reportedly is poison sea. And as best we can tell, we're in the only hospitable zone, unless there's little pockets. Again, if there's pockets down here that are tolerable, we don't have record of them, or they've been hidden. And again, there's the threat of Zoriat being in orbit along here somewhere. The big X. Sorry, not Zoriat. The big Dalcor. Big DQ. DQ. So that's the idea of the campaign. These kaiju are coming up from the depths and they're attacking these communities, looking for food or whatever. And we have Mecha and spelljamming vessels to repel those kaiju from attacking our communities. This is the large perspective. We're starting off only in one of the zones, which is here. This is a close-up. These are 500-foot squares. Again, here, each of these squares are 10,000 miles. So this is a 20 by 20 space. You can see here that it's just generally an X with a connector line going off to other squares of hospitable areas. When we actually zoom into the one where we're located at, you can see it's actually much thinner. That here is the airways that, or the air lanes that are connected asteroids of habitable terrain. enough vegetation material to produce oxygen or fresh air around them. So in reality, it's not like here you're seeing like it's 10,000 miles wide, but when you actually dip in here to the closer zone, you can see, well, it's actually maybe like only 1,000 miles here, or like maybe 7,000 miles here. It doesn't actually fill up the whole space. That surface map is an exaggeration. The world map, the system map is an exaggeration. Here's more specifically what we're looking at. We've already built out community 1, 2, and 3. We're going to build out 4, 5, and 6 today.
Hey, what's up, Fox?
It's good to see you, my guy. So yeah, we're going to build out community 4, 5, and 6. We already have some ideas about these. Oh, no, wait. We already did 4, 5, and 6. It's 1, 2, and 3 that we need to build today. We know that number 6 is largely a fishing community, and that in wild space, the expanse is filled with flying and swimming creatures that have the unnatural property that allows them to treat those modes of movement as flight. So this area, the whole area is called Scaver's Cove. These 2 large asteroids here are not large enough to have spherical gravity. This rock does here, so this is where an active community is on, but this little Bermuda Triangle here between these 3 asteroids is a massive coral reef type environment that is teeming with all sorts of unnatural underwater life that you would expect in a normal sea, except that it's wild space. And there's scavers, which are space sharks that will patrol this area, hence the name Scaver's Cove. The population is strong enough to be able to normally repel any kind of scavers that are coming in, but there is a table that we've been building up here on the kaiju list. Hold on, I want to get done with the task that I was originally working on. Let's grab the mecha. We should have a work in progress stack here. I think I've gone too far. Let's go back up this way. Nope, we want to go down. That's right. Okay, here we are. This is where it's at. This is the mecha work in progress that we have. So I'm going to extract that and drop that in. Yeah, let's drop that in between our citadel. Let's put the let's put the fighter craft first. So the way that we have them built is whatever the rank of our mecha workshop will determine the largest size mecha that we're capable of creating. We're starting the Dwarven Citadel at 2nd rank, which means we have a 2nd rank workshop facility, which means we can create mecha up to 20 feet in size. And we can have 3 modifications on our mecha, and those modifications can be up to 2nd rank. The number of hit points that we have, again, these are like horses with the mounted combat feat, where when we are mounted in our mecha, we can use the hit point pool of the mecha and our own personal hit points. We could protect the mecha from taking any damage by taking hit points ourselves and then being healed or whatever. Or we can allow the mecha to take damage, and once it's disabled, then we're out of mecha. We could run over and jump into the passenger seat of somebody else's mecha. These are 20-foot mecha. We are medium-sized creatures. I am assuming that each mecha can accommodate 2 characters, but only 1 is necessary to fully automate and pilot. Unless you have a ballista strapped on, unless you are a ballista walker instead of a mounted weapon machine, in which case you have to have a crew a crew of minions that are loading and firing the siege weapons as you command them to do so. So you can have multiple modifications up to the listed rank. The amount of damage that you do with the mounted weaponry that you can use, like the longsword is typically a D8 in the hands of a 5-foot human. In the hands of a 10-foot sized creature, it's 2D8. With the way that we have the mechanics skew from 10 feet to 50 feet, then the damage scales for 20 feet is 3D. Is in the case of the longsword would be 3D8 longsword. 30-foot mecha would be 4D8 longsword. As well as a 40-foot mecha would be the same, and then a 50-foot mecha would be 5d8 damage with a 50-foot size longsword. So you're basically taking the same mechanics of your character and you're just scaling them up to the 50-foot square, and you're making a mount out of your mecha using those same basic combat mount rules of taking damage for your mecha if you want to keep it going. You could either be using mending cantrips to repair your mecha, or you could be using healing spells to heal the pilot. Temporary hit points can work on either one. If you have the mana amplifier modification, then you can amplify any spell that your character knows to affect the mecha or at the 50-foot scale. So even though our mecha are only 20 feet, that 20 to 50-foot scale for mecha will remain legit up to 50-foot squares throughout the entire campaign. So we can always be operating at the 50-foot scale when we're doing mecha combat.
Hey, what's up? I want to take a nice vacation to the Frisia zone.
Right on, Sam. It's good to see you, my guy. Yeah, so if you have the mana amplifier, all the spells and powers and things that your character can do can be done through the mecha. So if you have a ranger in one of your mecha and they have Pass Without Trace, and they have, like, say, Vanish, they're like 11th level or whatever, they have the Vanish ability, then if they have the mana amplifier in place and while a mecha pilot, then they can make their mecha vanish, because their casting of the spell will now affect the entire 50, like up to a 50-foot machine, without costing any additional mana or spell slots or time. It's kind of like this is actually kind of a precursor to the circle spells that just released on Faerun. Circle spells allow you to change amplification of distance, area of effect, and different things like that by expending additional spell slots. Similarly, for the past year, we've had this document up that allows you to expend additional spell slots through a spell amplifier to amplify the range and area of effect of spells to the 50-foot scale, or on vessels to the 500-foot scale. I gotta say, I'm happy to once again see that Wizards of the Coast completely agrees with me in design principles. They go about it in different ways, but I think they see eye to eye with me really well. I'm really happy about that. So you guys just keep turning out the stuff, and I'll keep translating into cooler things. But yeah, these are all the different mods that we have. So like 40 hit points at 5th level. We're starting at 5th level, 2nd rank. 40 hit points doesn't sound like a lot. Your character probably also has 40 hit points. Anywhere from like 30 to 50 hit points is probably where the team is going to come in at 5th level, and we're going to go to 14th level, so that'll get us up into 4th rank. So eventually, if we want to refurbish our mecha as basically a Bastion turn downtime activity, we can be building out new mech that are bigger, better. And again, you have more mods, the higher rank you're capable of producing mecha with. And these are our mods. So durable doubles our hit points, and we can take this we can take this modification a number of times equal to the rank. So if I wanted to have all three of my, up to the max rank of the mecha, right? So I get 3 mods, and if I wanted to make my mecha super tanky, I could take it twice and add on an extra 80 hit points to my mecha to armor my character inside. So like a wizard might only want a mana amplifier for spell casting and then double down on durable, so that the wizard never has to worry about taking hits for the mecha to keep it going, so you can continue supporting your team. So that's not a bad option. Mana amplifier, we've been explaining. Powers, you can choose 1 power up to the max rank of mecha. And again, if we go back to the book here, we have a curated list of martial powers that we have redesigned to not require expending mana. So these are just things that you can take, but the amount that we can take is very, very limited. So like a fighter mecha pilot could decide to modify their mecha at 2nd rank, so that maybe instead of having any of these interesting juicy bits as a battle master type mecha, a support mecha, you just go with powers that provide you with reactions and maneuvers that help give action economy or protect your allies from damage, to be like a tanky type character. And there's I think like maybe 40 of them in here. It's a very short curated list in comparison to the to what we actually have in the martial powers document that we look at on Saturday. Like the shocking strike, as you can see, like it doesn't deal any additional damage, but it basically acts as shocking grasp in that it disables your ability to make opportunity attacks. Thundering strike, when you hit a target with an attack as a bonus action. See, we're caching bonus actions to trigger these effects, so they're not as good as martial powers. But if you have a character using martial powers and you invested and you modified to have a mana amplifier, you could then use martial powers on your character to juice up what your mecha can do. So like if you had a martial powers character with mana amplifier and you personally knew like the Thundering Strike power, you could channel 2 mana to ramp the damage, an additional 2d6 damage on top of the 3d8 damage you're doing with your longsword, and then you'd be able to push any creature, any target that you hit with that attack 4 squares away or 200 feet away. So we're just operating at the 50-foot scale instead of the 5-foot scale. But otherwise, if you have spell casting, if you're going to cast Burning Hands, it's going to do a 150-foot cone instead of a 15-foot cone. But the damage doesn't change. The damage remains the same because the amount of hit points that these mecha have isn't a lot. So if you're having a CR appropriate combat, like we're 5th level characters, if you guys are like fighting like CR 8 creatures that are also in mecha or ships, it's almost like the mecha wash. If you have the same or maybe a little bit bigger sized mecha on the team of the enemy, that's just like them just getting an extra pocket of temporary hit points that they're willing to sacrifice. But when they do cash out that mecha, they're now stuck at the 5-foot scale. And you've got a 3d8 sword, you are going to destroy that free-floating character. So it's an issue of, do you want to give up your mecha and be exposed like that and unable to participate at the 50-foot scale until you can get to another mecha? Or do you want to sacrifice your own health to keep your mecha going when otherwise it wouldn't be able to? It's kind of a fun little Ludo narrative on how to manipulate your hit point pool. So... yeah, so the scaling works really nicely in that sense, and the power list is stuff that we know that we've used in the past, so we know this stuff works. So it's a fun little list, definitely worth checking out. This document is linked in the down here as well. Here is the Warforged and Machines work in progress. That's what we're looking at right now. I'm going to drop this down into a separate window so it's separated. There we go. And let's take... I'm arranging my windows here real quick. Hold on. I want to keep this as a separate window. Spelljammer, Kaiju and Constructs. There it is. Okay, cool. We're good. Let's see what's next. The Eldritch Cannon. This is just the mounted weapon. It has a crew of 1. It just takes a magic action to use. And basically, you can channel a cantrip through it to deal at 5th level 2d8 damage. By the time you're 17th level, it's 5d8 damage. And when you pump a spell slot, when you expend a spell slot or mana, it becomes siege weapon damage. 1 mana. Is D4 times 10, 3 mana is D6 times 10, 5 mana is D6 times 10, 7 mana is D8 times 10, 5 mana is D4, D6, D8, D10, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 7. Right, 7 mana is D10, and then 9 mana is D12 times 10 damage. So if you expend mana, you can ramp your Eldritch Cannon as a single action to be able to deal big damage. But you don't have the benefit of using attack actions to issue orders to Siege Crew. You can do that with the Siege Machine option. But Eldritch Cannon is a good little toy to use. Integrated tools allows you to whatever tools it is that you're proficient with at the 5-foot scale, you can have those integrated into your mecha so that they operate at the 50-foot scale as well, like a rogue operating a mecha would be with integrated tools, would have like thieves picks, or like an artificer would be able to dream up machine tools to load through the mecha using the integrated tools method to have like colossal sized tinker tools, crowbar, all the things. Like if we're raiding a fire giant's lair and the fire giants are like 25 feet in size, then our mecha are good suits to run around to fight them, basically toe to toe, dealing roughly the same amount of damage as them. And so we'd be able to run through their dungeon and disarm their traps and open their doors and all that other stuff with the integrated tools. Sealed helms is just a way to like basically air seal your mecha environment so that you can traverse water and the poison sea while retaining clean air for 1 day. Fightercraft only have air for 1 day, but when you're in the poison sea, you can still breathe the air. It's just poison, so you have the poison condition until you get back into fresh air. There's no place in the entire game environment that we're creating, possibly beyond Shavareth, but the normal sphere that we're operating inside of cyberspace, it's all occupied by air. So we never have to worry about not breathing. It's just, is it poisoned or is it fresh? So, but if we get into some sort of water thing, then a sealed helm would allow you, and you can swap out your mods as an order to the Dwarven Citadel is considered to be your bastion, and like the team's bastion specifically. And we have a hangar bay, we have workshops, we have a storehouse. On the second floor, we have 2 barracks. On the 3rd floor, we have an additional barracks as well as a helm station. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, we have 8 facilities throughout this citadel, and as the team gains level, they can add. And we have plenty of room. Each square is 50 feet. We could have a floor on each of these 50 feet mark if we wanted to, if there was so many facilities that the team decided that they wanted to integrate into the structure for themselves. If they can accumulate the points to purchase them, they're welcome to do so. And we'll walk through that process today when we build some of these communities. But I'm just basically walking through where we're at, and then we're going to build some kaiju, and then we'll get to the communities. So, but yeah, the hangar bay that stores the mecha and the workshop that we have both at second, the workshop at second rank, we are able to build and modify second rank mecha, and we can build 1 per week per order issued, and we can modify our mecha. So if each mecha requires its own order to modify. So if a team is looking at, so your fortress has its own stack of orders, and you have currently 1 order that always goes to maintaining a lifestyle to make sure that your food is stocked and shit like that, toilet paper and things like that. But then you have 2 other orders because you're second rank, and those could both be spent on modifying mecha. And if there's 4 people on the team, those 2 orders takes care of 2 of the mecha. And then if you spend additional resource points or bastion points, you can get additional orders. And then you could have additional orders spent to modify everybody's mecha. So everyone can switch out their kit. It'll cost you 2 resource points to have the amount of orders needed to have the mecha teams get busy and swap out all that equipment. And if those are the orders that you've expended during your bastion turn, then it's considered to be immediately done. It happens during the turn. We're going to try to keep timelines loose inside of a bastion turn. A bastion turn is 7 days. So there's no, I'm planning on keeping the timing loose on this so that we can try to keep the adventures episodic and not really worry about specifically what day of the week is any particular thing happening, because we're going to update the world and consequences on a weekly basis. So it's possible we might be able to cram in maybe 2 or 3 different adventures per bastion turn, just depending on what the players want to do and play it out. So that should be a lot of fun for us to be able to fuck around with. But the intention is to have 1 month spent per bastion turn on presumably 1 to 3 adventures plus updating the different communities in a Civilization 4X style game where we're looking at like what's our trade routes and where's our attack. Like if Kaiju attacks a community because it wants to eat all your corn, you've now taken damage to your garden, your greenhouse, and your harvesting operations, and those need to be repaired, which is going to eat up resources points in that community. As a DM, it's super easy for me to manage all that stuff. It just kind of takes care of itself as you move along, and then if something interesting comes up, you shuffle some points around to free up budget to do something different. Excuse me. But if the players take interest in a particular community, they'll be given control over managing that community's, like maintaining their trade supply, their food sources, what's generating revenue for the lifestyle maintained in the community, and any kind of like barracks and military issues. Like if Kaiju attack and the player, the characters in the Mecha and the Citadel can't get there fast enough, that community is on their own fighting a Kaiju. So we are building out the barracks and the weapon supply that they have to be able to, volley damage against a Kaiju that's coming in and attacking the fortress, which is pretty easy, which is pretty quickly resolved given the Bastion conflict system that we have inside the Bastion book. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But it is going to give those characters, the players, that option of leaning into or away from stuff. And since we're playtesting, I'm going to ask the team to, after maybe a round or two, take control of one of the communities, whichever one they like the most, and then they'll start being able to manipulate it to be able to produce things for them. And anything that the players get involved with automatically just gets better, because it's not just on idle, it's being supercharged with like godlike character interaction. So whatever community they decide is going to flourish will flourish with their direct involvement. So that should be a lot of fun. I've yet to run a campaign where Bastion ideas like these weren't available, that the team that just didn't lean into it, because it's fucking fun. And it really does modify what is going to happen in the campaign depending on how they handle the different situations that arise. So there you go, Bob's your uncle. What were we talking about? We were talking about modifying, right? So the sealed helm isn't something that you would normally need, but if you know that you're going to like traversing water or something for this adventure, then you can issue orders to have your mecha modifier modified to drop something to add in the sealed helm. And as you gain ranks, you'll have more and more mods you can strap onto the mecha to make it more and more unique to yourself. Oversized weapons lets you increase damage size by 1. Currently at 20 feet, we're dealing 3 dice of damage, so your longsword is doing 3d8. But if you take this mod, it works for each individual weapon. So if I'm like using, like say I'm using a Mecha Glaive, it's going to be a weapon with reach, which means 100-foot reach. It's going to be doing a D10 with two-handed grip, and it's a heavy weapon. But if I take oversized weapon, it will now do 4d10 damage. Instead of 3d10 damage with the same reach. We're not increasing the actual size of the weapon. We're just increasing the damage that you can do with it by making it like heavier or bulkier or whatever. But it's still like right sized for the mecha that we're using. If we use weapons that are larger than the size of the mecha that we're building, you now have disadvantage, as though like a medium-sized creature was trying to use a weapon meant for large size, like a small creature trying to use a two-handed weapon like a glaive or a two-handed sword. A small-sized creature can, but they attack with disadvantage. And I don't think they get their strength bonus. I'm not positive on that, but similar. But that's the idea. Is like if you have a 30-foot, if you have a 20-foot mecha and you oversize the weapon to get the 30-foot damage, then it's not going to be a 30-foot blade. It'll still be a 20-foot blade. It's just denser, bigger, cloud-like sword. You could also do this with ranged weapons. You can't do it with siege weapons, but both. Like if you have like a mecha crossbow, if you decide like to have a harpoon flinger, you have like on one of your arms, it would normally be doing 2d8, but if you do the oversized weapon, it would then be doing 3d8 at a 500-foot range, for instance. Siege machines, like I said, mobile siege weapons, they deal d4 times 10 damage, which can be bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing, depending on what kind of machine you want to build. And it requires firing. It requires a magic or bonus action. It requires 10 feet of space, and it has to have a crew, and it has a rescore of 3 minus the rank of the crew. Right now, our crew is first rank, so it'd have a reload score of 2, and you'll be rolling a d6 on your command die to attack with it. You can combine this with oversize, but if you do, it increases the damage to d6 times 10. And the crew, instead of being 3, the crew is now 5. It still fits inside of a 10-foot area, but now you've got 5 guys on your back that are there specifically to work the siege weapon. So I recommend, honestly, leaving siege weapon. Like, once you get to like the 40 and 50-foot scale, these siege machines are pretty reasonable. In fact, you'd be able to strap on at the 50-foot scale. You could have 2 siege weapons on your mecha if all you wanted to be was like a crab with 2 ballistas strapped to its back. Like, that could be really fucking cool. Especially if you have like if you have like mounted size like 3d8 claws that were grabbing and crushing things, and then you have the mecha, like you have like 7 crew on your back firing ballistas with you. That could actually end up being pretty cool. But we can design those as people want to dive into different builds. But if you want to get into siege machines, I recommend instead just go with the mana amplifier for like a sorcerer who has a shitload of mana that you can spam out d4 times 10 with a single point of mana. That's really efficient. So yeah, there's our mods. So that's how our mods work. Here's our moons. Here's the mecha, the rough of the mecha. Here's our Dwarven Citadel, broken down by the different facilities that it has. I'm going to do this. Now we have 2 points into the helm. Pilot Dwarven Citadel plus research to scan for threats. The crew is the pilot, navigation, and captain, which could be the players, but it's assumed to be NPCs. So between the 3 of them, they can rotate duty to make sure that the ship is constantly moving, so you can get 10,000 miles per day if you need the boot scoot. 2 workshops, both at 2nd rank. The mecha hangar, we have. I need to put that here. There we go. 2 workshops, the mecha hangar. We have barracks, storehouse. A barracks can hold up to 100 people. You can have up to 100 crew or soldiers or whatever, but a 2nd rank barrack gives us 100. A 1st rank barracks gives us 10. 2nd rank gives us 100. 3rd rank gives us 1,000. 4th rank gives us 10,000 as a garrison, basically. And then at 5th rank, we don't have any cap, but it continues to scale up 10,000 per point that we put into it. And each NPC requires 10 feet of space to have a proper barracks, which is why we have, at the 50-foot scale, we have a 100 by 100 foot space here, a 100 by 100 foot space here, and a 100 by 100 foot space here. It's all just considered one barracks because that many, we would actually need to have, this is for 30, this is for, 36? Total crew of 98. There you go. We need to have the 200. That's so this is 100 by 100. This is 150 by 150. Let me do this real quick. 150 times 150 equals 22,500 divided by 100 equals. So we have enough barrack space currently for 225 crew. So the capacity that we actually need is 18 to have all the facilities operated, and what a crew. No, here we go. What is it? 1 large cannon, 1, 2 batteries. That's 1, 2, 8, 14, 20, 26, 35, 46, 55, 64, 73, 81. I'm off by 1. But yeah, between the facility crew and the weapons crew, we have just underneath 100. And I could probably get away with just 2 barracks, but I'm assuming the team's going to increase in size eventually. So I just went ahead and built in the barrack size there for us. Here's our weapon batteries, because we have a weapon battery here, 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 and here. So we have a lot of firepower that we can distribute between the team if everyone is aboard the Citadel and sharing duties of firing at different enemies. Then we have a shitload of weapons, salvos to be able to fire with, and we have plenty of crew to be able to man all of it. So far so good. Yeah, so far so good. And then we started building out the communities. We've got Redstone, which is located at number 3. It's an iron mine. Fell Tower, number 4. This is basically the community's druid sanctuary. She rides on she has a 100-foot Kandori, which you could potentially get to help you in overland travel, because currently your Dwarven Citadel is the only ship that's capable of flying 500 squares per hour, but the Kandori that the druid has as a pet can also travel at that speed. And you know, she can do the druid is capable of using the plant growth ritual, which can be basically she has a migration pattern to go around to these different asteroids to use plant growth on the crops so that they produce more than they normally would, which is a god save in an asteroid community. Let's see, we have Fell Tower, right, and Far Hope, that's here. And then we have Scavengers Cove. Yeah, Scavengers Cove is here. So we still have number 1 and 2 to do. So we'll probably do the Electrum Mine, and then we'll do Capital Rock. If Capital Rock is the highest rank, it'll be the most complicated. We'll limber up you on developing. I forget the name of this community. We'll work on that. But first, I want to build out some kaiju. Pirates of the Tsar. We built a Storm Giant with a Kandori mount. Let's see, what would be a fun one to do? Space Kraken, we already did that one. The Cloaker with its Dark Mantles, we did that. I saw Poison Methods. Let's do let's do a School of Jellyfish. How fun is that? Okay, so we're gonna do Jellyfish. Jellyfish are normally CR0. Let's go see if Jellyfish exists in the DMG or in the Monster Manual. Is that a thing? Maybe not. It doesn't look like it. Ooh, let's go with Flump. Let's see what happens if we make a Flump kaiju. These can be psychic. These can just be massive psychic jellyfish. That might be fun. We'll get rid of all the smart shit and whatever. Let's see, how big do we want our Flump to be for this challenge? We're gonna have a school of them. Let's go with well, let's just roll the dice and see how big the dice want it to be. I'm going to roll a D10 and multiply the result. Actually, I'm going to roll a D4. Yeah, let's just go with a D10. I like that. And whatever that is, times 100. I rolled an 8, so these are going to be 800-foot jellyfish that are going to come floating through. So that's great. School of Jellyfish. Let's see, how did we build these things? Let's go look at our handy table. If we are 800 feet in size, we're definitely going to be considered squishy. Let's just kick on down here to the Kaiju area. 800 foot. Sorry, 8 times, it'd be 400 foot. So it's going to deal 90x damage. What kind of damage does a flump do? Probably like nothing.
Tendrils. D4 plus 2.
D4 at 400, it's 94. So it's going. Okay, great. So attack. What is it? Attack once. Attack times 1 equals. It still only has its +2 bonus. +4. It's +4 to hit. It deals 9d4 +2 damage, which is going to be 18 plus 4 is 22, 26. 26 damage on average. And let's see. Con save DC 10. Plus con save. This is how I should be doing it. Plus con save DC 10. Fail equals 94 acid damage.
Target must succeed on a failure or ending the recurring acid damage on a success. Unless a restoration spell, acid damage at the end of each of its turns. The target must make a Constitution save to avoid.
Okay, there we go. Per round until success or half on save.
Is it half on save or just ends on save?
Oh, yeah. Oof. Until success. That's horrible. So yeah, that's a legitimate threat. The hit points it's going to have is 7 plus its modifier for its size. Should be down here. Almost there. Stay on target. There we go. These will be considered hollow surfaces, a hollow object, and 807 hit points. So, Jesus Christ, a school of jellyfish. How large of an area would this school of jellyfish occupy? Is it measured in miles? Yes. Is it measured in tens of miles? No. Is it like up to like a mile of jellyfish? Ooh, okay. So instead it's going to be, what, 46? Yeah. So instead it's going to be 46 jellyfish. They're 400 feet in size. They occupy a 500-foot square, nearly as big as your Dwarven Citadel is. They don't do nearly as much damage as the Dwarven Citadel, but they do acid damage, which has an effect on stone. If we were to roll up this encounter right now, there would be 15 jellyfish, and they would be attacking one of the communities, like quote-unquote attacking. You might not even consider it attacking. They're just creatures, and they think they found something they can feed on. Vegetation. That vegetation happens to be in your community, and they're eating your crops.
and they're eating your air supply, so they need to be driven away. Would these jellyfish be vegetarians? Yes, they are. 1 on 4. So yeah, that would be the threat, that you have these massive jellyfish that are trying to eat all the vegetation off of a populated asteroid, or not really an asteroid, it would be a planetoid. So you would need to figure out a way. You could either fight them off and maybe they'll defend themselves and destroy your mecha and your ship in the process, or maybe there's a different way you can solve the problem. But the challenge is these 400-foot jellyfish are now scouring your fields, and you got to get rid of them. They're going to do resources worth of damage to your crops, and you got to clear them out before the entire bastion of that complex is destroyed. And however the team wants to solve that problem, that's technically not I don't care. As a DM, I do not care. That's the fun OSR background of it, and depending on what solution they come up with, that might open up new avenues of adventure or ideas or resources that the team could dive into and exploit to help improve their circumstances in their communities. So hey, we just built a school of jellyfish. We're gonna go with 4d6 worth eating community vegetation. Veggie critter materials. And for now, you know what? For now, that's all. That's I only want to make that one for now. We have ice elementals on tap. We have poison mephits that will eventually come around. I'm gonna build these out on another day. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, we still have 6 to go. We'll probably focus on that on our next, probably Monday next week. We'll focus on that. So we'll build out the rest of these are just our D10 table of random creatures that could attack. And maybe we'll buff this out to something more like 40, so there's no chance of reoccurrence. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But like poison mephits are in the poison sea, elementals are in the Frisia zone. We know there's an unlimited nautiloid out there. We know there's beholder ships out there. We know there's pirates of Lazar and hammer ships. A pack of scavers, of course, will be kind of similar to the school of jellyfish, but they'll just be like gargantuan at largest. They don't get bigger than 20 feet. So like a gargantuan, but there could be like 100 of them. Who knows? So we'll flesh those out. We'll do that next time. But that's all I wanted to do with those. Instead, now let's go back in and build another community. So I'm going to grab, what is this? We're looking at number 2 right now, Electromine location. So let's go grab something of a similar rank and duplicate the process that we have here. Yeah, let's go back up to Redstone. Oh, Crag Falls, that's the name of the place. Cool. What size is this? 14. Bold 14. Bold. Gonna go rank 2. Bastion points equals 13. $27 miles in size. Major forms of food production. The 2 resources that they have is goat pastures and electromines. So they're actively harvesting animal materials for goats and mineral resources through the electromine. They have 13 bastion points to be able to purchase facilities up to 2nd rank, as well as issuing or maintaining additional orders. So let's go ahead and first see how the points are going to be distributed. And we're going to have a pocket. Typically have a pocket of 3 or more points. Basically, the rank +1 is the number of points we like to have in excess for emergency spins as needed. Okay, so let's look at the structure of a bastion, since that's where we're at in the process right now. If we go back to our document here, and hey folks, how you guys doing? If we go back to Bastion Campaign's work in progress, this is the document. All these things are read-only. All these work in progresses, you're all welcome to look at these things. My Discord community is here. It's free access. Anyone that wants to explore these ideas, like build their own Bastion campaign, or mess around with Mecha Kaiju, or use my Spelljammer combat and exploration mechanics that we have here, join my Discord, ask as many questions as you want. I'm happy to help out in any way that I can, and give you maybe some not obvious advice on how stuff works, or like what I've experienced myself in utilizing these systems so far. But I'm always looking for more people that are willing to playtest them, to find gaps and flaws and logic issues that need to be resolved. So God bless anyone that's willing to participate. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so let's so we just cracked open our Bastion campaign book, so let's pull that up here, and we'll fold this up for now. So here's how Bastions work. Here's how a Bastion campaign works. First off, we needed to rebuild the Bastion system so that it utilizes resource points and ability checks to succeed and fail at tasks or orders that you issue to your Bastion. The purpose of a Bastion campaign is kind of like a hex crawl, where you don't know what's going to happen next session, and you're going to randomly generate what's going on in that block of... In a hex crawl, it's a block of space, like in this hex of wilderness. But in a Bastion campaign, you run a weekly turn. A Bastion turn is 1 week. So a campaign is a string of Bastion turns, and depending on the rank of your Bastion, you can issue typically it's a number of orders equal to your Bastion +1. You always have to spend an order to maintain a lifestyle for the Bastion, to take care of the lifestyle hand waves, all of the exchange of commerce and goods, payroll, selling goods and services to acquire money for said payroll and for your materials and for your cost of labors and replacement. All of that is taken care of by making a lifestyle check. And all these Bastion checks or orders or facility checks, they're all just ability checks. It's D20 plus the rank of your Bastion plus a Bastion die. And a Bastion die is like the proficiency die from the DMG optional rule of proficiency dice. A level 1 character with a +2 bonus gets a D4 instead of a +2, so it could be a range of anywhere from +1 to 4. It's a little swingy, but it's better. By the time you get up to 17th level, it's a D4, D6, D8, D10. That 17th level, it's a D12. So a 5th rank Bastion, the maximum size Bastion that there is, would be rolling a D20 plus 5 from the Bastion plus a D12. And depending on, and then you add the Bastion die plus your D20 plus your modifier, and that'll determine the success of the check that you're making. And checks are divided into five ranks, depending on like the cost of goods that you're trying to trade, or the rarity of magic item that you're trying to empower, or the level of spell that you're trying to charm onto your characters. This is all broken down into the 5 ranks, kind of like half casting. So rank 1 is spell level 1, 2. It's cantrip 1. Cantrip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. At 5th rank Bastion, your hirelings are capable of wielding magic at the 8th and 9th level capacity to build items, to create boons and charms for your characters, to cast divination magic and shit like that. But this is all being done through these ability checks. And so, like, if I want to make a legendary magic item as a 5th rank Bastion, I've got 5 degrees of success. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's your bounded accuracy curve of 10 to 30. That's how the 5e game engine was intended to be built. The Bastion of being able to roll a d20 plus 5 plus d12 could result in anything from a result of 7 to 47. Got a pretty wide range, but I have to hit a 30 to be able to do legendary magic items. So I'm still only, I can roll a 47, but I have to hit a 30. I'm only a 1 in 3 chance of successfully being able to make that legendary magic item. If I fail, I don't fail, a complication arises. Like, I don't have exotic enough of material. I gotta go get like the Thorn of Zarn or some shit. Or maybe like my crew isn't competent enough to be able to actually produce this magic item. I have to find a specialist that can help me actually craft it if I don't want to do it myself. I now have to go recruit somebody. And they may have a whole bunch of bullshit that they need to do before they'll become my master swordsman or whatever. There's all sorts of, like, there could be the workshop exploded. Some sort of magical tragedy happened, and now the facility's been disabled. Until you repair it, you can't complete the task. These are all obstacles that arise that are gates. So if you fail your ability, if you succeed the ability check initially, you can just do the thing, and it might take you like a couple months to build the legendary magic item. But like if we're modifying our mecha, for instance, that's something that can get done in this Bastion turn during this week to actually use those mecha modified for this new battle, like this new adventure that we want to go on, like in the deep or whatever. So if we fail our ability check, it then becomes, you can't complete this task until you resolve this other thing. And then you could make another ability check as a Bastion. If you have additional orders laying around, you could then issue another order. Hey, go fix that problem. And you get that one, basically you get that, like, that one reroll. But the reroll isn't going to be the same roll. It's not going to be an empowered check to see if you make the item. You might not have the people that you need. So now it would actually be a recruiting check. And depending on what kind of facilities you have in your Bastion is going to determine what kind of dice you get to roll to see if you can succeed at that task. But in the case of a legendary magic item, since the initial problem was a DC 30, the recruiting that you need to find somebody capable of building that level of magic item is also DC 30. So now you have basically a 1 in 3 chance in recruiting to be able to find somebody who could be convinced to help you make this item that you want. And if you fail that die roll, it becomes another complication. You found a guy that might be willing to help you, but he's got this stack of bullshit that needs to be taken care of. And at any time, instead of making this one die roll to see if you succeed or have new bullshit, instead the players could step in and says, we're going to make that an adventure. And when we finish that adventure, it's going to solve all these other problems. So, like if we need a magic item, we need a guy, that guy needs some bullshit done. At this point, we're tired. It's like, we're going to keep burning orders on this. We're eating up our resources. Instead, let's make an adventure out of this. And where that chain ended, it was that guy needs some bullshit. So let's go do whatever that bullshit is. It'll be level appropriate for our characters because we're just making an adventure based on what misrolls we had this turn. Next turn, like next session, let's have an adventure involving taking care of this guy's bullshit. And that could lead to us getting treasure, new plot hooks, new leads, additional information on plot hooks we're already pursuing. Plus, it resolves the bullshit for that guy. He is now able, next turn, to be able to go in and fix our stuff. So, to make that to start work on that legendary magic item. You see how that works? So we're constantly making ability checks as a Bastion turn to see if we succeed or fail at something. When a DM is running, it's on autopilot. And it's built into like a maintain this lifestyle, maintain this level of trade, maintain this level of defenses, and just coast. And until the players get involved, or if some sort of plot, something comes up in the story of the campaign that would logically activate a community to make a change, then the DM can go in and make those changes to adapt to what the environment is. Like maybe they have to, like maybe the pub got burned down, and instead of them spending resources to rebuild it, they're now going to instead increase their barracks, so they have more fighting soldiers on hand to be able to prevent things like your pub getting burned down in the future. That's how you can decide to spend your own points, and that affects how the community operates and what resources it what bonuses and options can they provide to the characters when they call on them. If the players decided to get involved, then they would have, here's the current state of this community. Be welcome to adapt and change as you need. So let's go ahead and build a community. That's the basic framework of like how the Bastion system works in a nutshell. And what happens is we accumulate Bastion points to gain ranks. So if you have 1 Bastion point, you have a first rank Bastion. At first rank, a Bastion point is worth 100 gold. So like if your characters want a Bastion, as long as you have 100 gold pieces that you can scrape together, you can have 1 Bastion point, which will give you a first rank Bastion and the ability to purchase 1 facility at first rank. By the time we accumulate 11 Bastion points, we will automatically upgrade to second rank, whether our characters are 5th level or not. The Bastions can progress on a completely separate track from the Bastion, but there's a lot of things in Bastions, like for example, like a druidic boon. We might have a 3rd rank Bastion that has a sanctuary, a druidic sanctuary, capable of providing up to up to a 5th level, up to a 5th level charm for your character. But if our characters are only 5th level, they can't actually cast 5th level spells yet, so the maximum spell level that the team would be able to accept from the sanctuary would be 3rd level, because that's the maximum spell level that characters of 5th level could cast. So the Bastion can proceed at its own rank, but things that would benefit the characters individually are capped by the character's level. So when the characters catch up to the rank of the Bastion can then load them up with level 9 appropriate things at 3rd rank. Alternatively, 9th level characters could have a 2nd rank Bastion. And although the characters were capable of receiving more, the Bastion won't be able to meet their potential until it accumulates at least 21 points and upgrades to 3rd rank, effectively a 9th level character themselves. See how that rolls around? Hey Adams, how you guys doing? Yup. Good to see you guys, man. So yeah, this is how the Bastion system works. We accumulate Bastion points. Bastion points can be purchased, which is incredibly realistic at low levels, only being 100, and then at 2nd rank, when you have 11 points, each point is now worth 1,000. Notice how at 100 points, 10 Bastion points is worth 1,000 gold. And now when we start purchasing Bastion points, we have to pay 1,000 gold each until we get to 20 points. And we now have 10,000 gold pieces worth of Bastion points. And now each Bastion point at 3rd rank and higher is now 10,000 gold pieces themselves. It keeps scaling up like that. At 5th rank, like water deep. Like Boros, or like Silver Quill, or House Cannith, the Red Wizards of Thay. These are all examples of something that could be a 5th rank guild in the Bastion framework. This organization, as a nebulous idea, operates within these Bastion mechanics with many facilities scattered across their realm. Each location where you drop Bastion points becomes a new Bastion that can be commanded by higher ranking Bastions that have spent points on infrastructure and networking. So you have like a government facility inside your Bastion. You are now equipped to like send out homing pigeons or sending stones or message riders to be able to coordinate the activity of different Bastions and communities located at different places on maps. So there you go, fun ideas there. So we have a 2nd rank community, right? That's what we're working on. We're working on the community of, what's it called? Crag Falls. So we're gonna have to put some waterfalls and shit in this place. That's my timely timer. My alarm just told me to take a sip of water. I'm almost out, so give me a hot second here. I have to refill my water. I'm gonna be right back. So stick around, guys. I'll be right back with you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take those points that Crag Falls has, and we're going to allocate them to different facilities that are going to represent basically different municipal buildings and structures in the community. A settlement, a bastion is the most basic form of a bastion is basically like a keep or a stronghold or something. It has like a blacksmith shop and a barracks, and a stable, and maybe like a reliquary, you know, a war room maybe. These are different like rooms in the building that are framed as facilities. But if, just like we're doing with Mecha, if we take a 5-foot character and we put them into a Mecha, that character now operates at the 50-foot scale. Similarly, with communities, a bastion is a single structure. A community, or a settlement rather, the proper word I think here is in 5e is settlement. A settlement is like a bastion, but instead of the facilities being inside the building, the community has separate buildings for each facility. So it's the same kind of idea. It's a bastion, but at a community scale instead of one structure. Similarly, characters at the 5-foot scale can operate as 5e characters in combat in mecha suits at the 50-foot scale by just simply converting everything up to the 50-foot scale and having a means to convert from the 5-foot to the 50-foot to the 500-foot to the mile, 10 mile, 100 mile, 1,000 mile, which is what the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration document down in the link down below is how to convert 5e combat from the 5-foot to 50, 500, 1 mile scale. I'm going to take that extra drink of water now. Similarly, a community has bastion points and it accumulates population. The higher the population, the larger the community, or the larger the settlement size, the higher rank. Or the more resources, the more bastion points poured into a community, the more people are drawn to live there. So it's kind of like chickens and eggs. Our population is growing, we're getting more bastion points as a result of it, we're becoming a larger community, we're upgrading our rank. Or we're dumping a ton of money into this community and it's attracting all these new migrants or settlers or displaced workers that want to find a place where they can prosper, and this growing community is where they can do that. It's kind of the same idea, it's just which one happens. As you gain population, you're going to naturally accumulate bastion points because you have more money pouring into the area with everyone that's coming in. Or if you pre-purchase or gain those points, then the population will eventually show up after it to bolster out the population to match the size of the community that it now is affording. If I had 40 bastion points in my hamlet of 15 houses, it's not going to be a metropolis until I accumulate more than 100,000 people here. And I can only pull in so many people per bastion turn with a recruiting order to basically do tourism to invite people in to start setting up shop in our community. We have the bastion points, there's a fuck ton of them, but we're stuck at rank 1 until we can get our population large enough to expand the size of the city, and that takes time. So, fun, super fun. You can gain bastion points as rewards. Like once we get up into once we get past 1,000 gold pieces in value, and each bastion point costs 10,000 gold pieces, this is a really great solution to the question: how am I supposed to deal with so much fucking gold in my campaign? I don't have anything to spend it on, and the amount of gold pieces I'm supposed to have from this character level is absurd. Well, if your bastion can build magic items and spell jamming ships and fortresses for you by making ability checks, spending time as a construction order, then you don't actually need to have any gold in your pocket. You just need to be able to maintain a lifestyle for that work permit, as it were. For that working order, you have to maintain a large enough lifestyle to afford the magnitude of the project. Like if you want to make a castle that costs 500,000 gold, and your third rank of it as a facility can only produce 4,000 gold per week worth of results, you're going to be building that castle for 120 weeks, which is 2 some odd years, which is actually fairly realistic for the DMG says about spending time building shit. But a higher rank stonemason would be able to, like a 5th rank facility that's like specialized in building structures, could produce 200,000 gold per season. So you could potentially knock that thing down. Like if you have 5th rank architects like
800-year-old dwarves that breathe stone or whatever. They can whip you up a pretty fucking cool castle in very little time. So that 5th rank of power will get you that same castle basically in 8 months instead of 2.5 years. But a smaller, like a 1st rank stonemason, a bricklayer basically, yeah, a bricklayer could build that castle, but you can only do 100 gold pieces worth of production each bastion turn this way. And that castle's 500,000 gold is going to take you 5,000 weeks to complete it on your own. So you need to get some more people involved, and maybe you can grow the structure, like your rank up, to be able to build this castle. And in time, by the time the castle is done, maybe you'll be 3rd or 4th rank, because you've learned so much and accumulated enough resources and built out and hired more people. You see how these things kind of organically pour into each other? So it's unrealistic for you to have tens of thousands of gold handed to you as a result of adventures. So a good solution instead is to frame your campaign around, once your characters get to around 9th level where they're 3rd rank, instead of giving them stupid amounts of gold, give them bastion points. Or give them the deed to another location that's like a 2nd rank bastion. So they could get, they could get like, you can spend, like say, kill the Jabberwocky for me and I'll give you 4 resources. I'll give you 40,000 gold worth of bastion points. And at 3rd rank, that would basically be 4 points. But like if you wanted to establish a 2nd rank bastion in that guy's city, you don't currently have one there, 40,000 points could be converted into 10,000 gold here for a 2nd rank bastion that's on the verge of becoming 3rd rank. And then we put in 10,000, because each point here is worth 1,000. So we could put in 10,000 gold to get 20 bastion points to have a brand new 2nd rank bastion inside of that city. And then we could put another 3 points into it to get to 22 points as a 3rd rank bastion now in that community. You see, I can either get a 3rd rank bastion and build it up an extra 4 points towards 4th rank, or I could start with 40,000 gold. I could start off with a brand new 3rd rank facility in a completely different area. So I'm franchising and having more and more safe houses that I can go to. Like if you're playing gritty realism where you require a safe house to be able to take a long rest, if you start franchising bastions across the countryside, establishing these little strongholds along the way, then you can have a chain of areas that you're able to take a safe long rest inside of as your stronghold while you reassess the terrain around you before you head out again, for instance, until you get like Magnificent Mansion and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's a piece of advice. Like the team will be able to potentially gain treasure and rewards. Like if you sack Lazar pirate ship, we could convert that pirate ship into a gold value that could then become bastion points that could be spent to either upgrade facilities inside the team's citadel, or could be used to pump into another community that the team is taking, that's made a pet out of that community. You can start bumping points into that to upgrade the facilities that you want and to start migrating people there yourself. See how that works? So hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to go down, and now that we know the structure and how many points we're supposed to have, we know at 2nd rank we're going to have 11 to 20 points. Crag Falls has 13 points total. And we can see down here in Redstone, we have a number of different structures. We have a storehouse. Like these are all independent structures that are facilities in the Bastion system. But again, instead of them just being a room in a structure, these are now their own separate structure with support buildings and the hirelings that work in these facilities. These are families that have their own homes that are like nearby the facility. So it's expanded out to this larger scale. Like we can have individual structures. We can have a settlement. We can have a kingdom. We could have an entire planet. We can have an entire plane of existence. They can all operate on these same Bastion mechanics of what's this quadrant of space used for? Well, that's where we build armor. That's where we build spaceships. So it's like a dockyard or like a workshop. Yeah. So that whole region of space is like a dockyard. And when you delve into it, it's like, yeah, sure, maybe its claim to fame is being a dockyard, but it has pubs It has storehouses, it has gambling halls, it has theaters, it has churches, it has arcane studies, inns. It has all these things inside of that space. But when you pan out, like what's the most outstanding feature that makes that area worth visiting, it'll have like this one oddity, but that oddity is supported by a whole bunch of infrastructure. So you can take this Bastion system and scale out and pan in, zoom in and out of your society. You've got a Bastion inside of Waterdeep. Waterdeep is a metropolis that's inside of Cormyr. Cormyr is a nation with a number of different 4th and 5th ranked cities, 3rd, 4th, like anything from a hamlet all the way up to Waterdeep as a metropolis. Baldur's Gate is a decent sized city of like 40,000 people. That's a 4th ranked settlement there. El Terrell is a 4th ranked settlement as well. So there's all these 3rd and 4th, and then Waterdeep is a 5th ranked bastions that are built as large scale communities with massive populations. And you can break them down using these bastion points to create different interest points. Like this has points spent on a storehouse. That doesn't mean that the community has just one storehouse. It means that it has enough storehouses invested into the community that it's an outstanding feature. This doesn't specifically have any theaters, for example, but I'm sure you can go into any number of pubs. Like, it doesn't have any pubs listed as a gaming hall, but it doesn't have like any pubs or theaters specifically. But it also has a population of 769 people. So probably has a couple pubs. It might not actually have a theater unto itself, but I bet a couple of those pubs have a decent have a decent stage for bands to play on or for auctions and shit like that. So like, it's not spelled out. It just means it's not known for that. This place isn't big on pubs and theater. It's not a big culture center. It seems more practical. Storehouse, Iron Mining Guild, barracks. It has a gaming hall, but it also has a garden and garden facilities, and of course is maintaining a lifestyle for itself. So more than anything, this place is mostly iron mining and crop fields. That's what it's known for. That's redstone. So Crag Falls is known for goat pastures and electrum mine. So it's going to have stables and probably a menagerie, probably a workshop to work leather and stuff like that. So let's take our 13 points and start allocating them. At 2nd rank, we can't put more than 2 points into any specific facility because the speed, the scale of the community is the bastion itself sets how many points can be put into a facility. So like in the case of a city here, we could have a standalone structure like the player's bastion could be 3rd or 4th rank in Crag Falls, even though Crag Falls is only 2nd rank. The team could have a facility, could have a bastion in Crag Falls that's 4th rank. But we know that if they want to do 4th rank shit, like make very rare magic items, build massive carrier ships, bridge dimensions with planar gates, these are the kind of shit that we can do at 4th rank. But Crag Falls doesn't have the resources to support it because it's only 2nd rank. It can't pull the kind of resources you need to do 4th rank shit. So you have to establish a trade route with some location, a community that's already 4th rank. And like, if I want to build a planar portal, I'm going to need a lot of magic, and I'm going to have like, say, like exotic minerals like mithril, electrum, stuff like that, to build the gate from as exotic materials. And that exotic material is going to be 4th rank because making a planar gate is a 4th rank activity. And since no one in this community, if we look at our community here, we've got 6 locations and none of them are higher than 3rd rank, which means if we did somehow create a 4th rank bastion inside this community, nothing inside this community is capable of providing the resources, the materials needed to make that 4th rank facility actually operate. At best, it can operate, even though it's 4th rank, it would at best be able to operate at 3rd rank because that's the maximum amount of supplies, materials, and manpower that's available inside of this community. If we want to get 4th rank, if we want to use our Bastion for 4th rank, we're going to have to step outside of our own box and start looking around, maybe over here, or over here, or over here, maybe even over here, for higher rank NPCs that are capable of producing the stuff that we need to be able to make our facility work. Waterdeep is a 5th rank settlement. You can get literally anything at in Waterdeep. Finding it may require a DC 30 because of 5th rank, but you can find literally anything as long as you know how to find it, i.e. if you roll well or ask the right questions or smash the right skulls, you'll find what you're looking for eventually. But you have to go to where that stuff is available. The DM can always say, yeah, this is a 2nd rank community, but they have access to adamantine and mithril in their mines, which is 4th, 5th rank type material. So even though it's only right now a 2nd rank community, they're mining 5th rank materials. They're going to rise because people are going to want to get access to that 5th rank material, which means that that community has the potential of being elevated to 5th rank themselves eventually. At worst, a 5th rank guild mining operation is going to basically create a trade route to that mine and start extracting that and taking that mineral back, say, to Waterdeep, or wherever it is that a sufficient rank community will have sufficient ranked smelts, blacksmiths, workshops, armories, all those creative bits to be able to support the material that you're bringing in. So things naturally synchronize with each other, rank to rank. Lower rank is never a problem. Higher rank can be incredibly difficult to deal with. So the pace of the community is generally the pace of the bastions or the facilities that get created inside of it, right? So 13 points. What are some things? Okay, so we know it's an electro mine, right? So that automatically tells us that we're going to want to have a smithy. We're going to want to have a storehouse. We're going to want to have a guild hall. Guild hall for the miners, storehouse for the storage, smithy for additional resources to work it. We're probably going to want to have, a barracks to protect the community. These are structures in the community itself, not any particular bastion per se, but just present in the community. We need to have a government. No, we don't. We have a. We're gonna have a government building, but we don't necessarily have the community doesn't need a government. The bastion that is the seat of government needs a government facility equal to the rank of the settlement, and it also needs to have the settlement facility to use that government that government infrastructure to work the land around it, to harvest materials, to provide for production. What am I supposed to be writing here? It's harvest materials. Harvest materials. There's 3 types of materials. There's animal, plant, and mineral. So we need to have stables. We need to have workshop. We need to have, we have the smithy, we have the storehouse, we have the guild hall, we have the barracks, stables, workshop. Yeah. So let's see. And we only have 13 points to fuck around with. And we're automatically putting 3 in our pocket. And what that means is that we're spending 3 of these points for spending additional orders in case something goes wrong, or as just kind of like a buffer in case we take some damage. We don't necessarily have to start destroying. Like if the bastion is attacked, like by this, like the school of 400-foot jellyfish, for instance, there's gonna be 24 400-foot jellyfish that attack this community. And it's eating up vegetation, it's eating goats. It's just basically 200-foot tendrils that are just kind of drifting across the field and just grabbing up all of our herd and eating all our goats. So we're losing our material resources. What that gets converted into is damaging is damaging the community. So the community has 13 Bastion points, and these this say second rank school of jellyfish are going to deal D6 Bastion points of damage. First rank goes up to CR1. Second rank goes up to CR5. Third rank goes up to CR9. Fourth rank goes up to CR13, and anything that's CR14 or bigger is considered fifth rank. So when we're creating this threat, it seems to be in they're non-combatants. They do a lot of damage. If you don't attack them, they probably won't attack you, but they're a nuisance because they're eating all your goats. I'm just categorizing that just off the cuff as second rank threat. So that means that when these jellyfish blow through this community, they're going to deal D6 points of Bastion points of damage. So the Bastion only has 13 points. So if I roll a 6, I have to tear out 6 points from this facility, from the Bastion. If I keep a pocket of 3 points, I now only have to tear out 3 points from my facilities. I also have to maintain a lifestyle. That's important to remember. Let's roll. Let's make a Bastion check. We'll figure out lifestyle here in a minute. First off, we're going to have at least 1 point in the smithy. We're going to have 1 point in the storehouse. I need to have 2 points in the storehouse because we have 2 types of materials. A storehouse can have different types. There are only 3 types of materials: animal, plant, mineral. Right. So if I have a first rank storehouse, I can store 1 type of material. Since I only have 2 types of materials in this community, I only need a second rank storehouse to be able to store both types of materials. If I had also, like I've got goat and electrum, this animal and mineral. If I had plant, like if I started to harvest the crop, the goat pastures, if instead of goat pastures, I started using some of that for like cash crops, like wheat and shit like that, then I would then be able to add in a third material, and I would need to have a third rank storehouse to be able to accommodate that, or create a completely different set. I could have like 3 separate storehouses, each handling 1 type of material, or I could have 1 storehouse at third rank handling all 3 materials. You see how that kind of works? So you don't benefit from having multiple storehouses at third rank. It might be how you decide to spend your points for redundancies and backups in case one storehouse gets destroyed by kaiju attack. You'll have a second storehouse so your materials aren't, because like when you lose your storehouses, it reduces your ability to craft and harvest and trade. So when you don't have a storehouse, you're just basically going off of a die roll. The more facilities you have that support an order, the more dice you get to roll and keep your best result. Kind of like a type of advantage, which helps minimize your risk of having a complication. So your characters can go and do what they want instead of chasing their tails all the time. Electrum, second rank. I'm going to make a second rank guild hall, so we have miners that are capable of dealing with it. We're second rank, so we have a population of 346. A first rank barracks can only have 10 soldiers. A second rank barracks can have up to 100 soldiers. Third rank 1,000, fourth rank 10,000, and at fifth rank, basically every additional point that you put into it is an additional 10,000 soldiers in your barracks. So, yeah, the math is really simple in these things, but it all just kind of works out. It's actually pretty surprising. Stables, goats are a big pull, so I'm kind of compelled to go 2 points on the stables. If these guys aren't going to be working the stone, like if they're not going to be smelting and developing it themselves, then they don't need to have second rank workshops and smithies. We can have third rank workshops and smithies on Capital Rock. That's why we have these. That's why we have these arrows pointing here, because the electrum from this mine could be gathered here, but then sent over to Capital Rock, third rank, to work the electrum into to smelt it, and to make it workable and a more tradable commodity. So, and it would have with third rank, it'll have at least 21 points. So it's going to have more resources available to it than this little mining community does. They can peel this stuff out, they can store it, they can get rid of it, and they can do basic repairs. But they're mostly involved in just getting the stuff out of the asteroid. And these asteroids are fun. These are chunks of Eberron that are in orbit around the planet. And Eberron has Kyber, right? If you dig deep enough underneath the surface of Eberron, you will crack open Kyber, and evil will come pouring out like a wound. All of these asteroids are similar. All these drawn shapes in here. The black ones here, these are planetoids large enough to have spherical gravity, but the rest of these empty circles that we have out here, they're too small. They either don't have significant vegetation on them, like the ones out here, or they're too small. They're too small to have spherical gravity, so they have planar gravity. But regardless, these all these different areas, if you crack them open and like what are we looking at? Community number 2, Craig Falls. It's on a 27-mile rock, right? It's 27 mile circumference or diameter. So if we dig a mile down into that rock, we still got 25, 26 miles to go. But if you dig a mile down underground, you're going to crack open Kyber. So even though this isn't Eberron, this isn't the full planet of Eberron, all of these rocks that are in orbit around Eberron, they all hold Kyber in them as well. So if one is cut open by an asteroid storm, other freakish weather, a collision of some sort, or we just go, if we go prospecting for ore, because a lot of these rocks have ore of some sort in them, they're all worth exploring. But again, if you delve too deep, evil is going to come out, and then you have to send a delving team to go kill all the monsters in the natural caverns that you found. That is a complication that could arise from the harvesting order trying to gather these materials from the mining asteroid. Now there's monsters. You could have a NPC team from the barracks make an ability check, and let's say it's a third rank threat. You're gonna have to roll a 15 on your ability check. If you fail, you lose your soldiers, and the monsters are still there. Do you want to try again? Yes, no. Or do you want to send in the characters to go take care of it? Otherwise, you could have just sent in the characters right away and made that your adventure. Hey, well, let's go kick some Kyber ass for a little while and keep this place clean. And then maybe the team pays attention to this mining community for a little while since you're spending time there. You rearrange it, you upgrade a little bit, you pour some of your resources into it, you establish a bastion there for yourself. It's like maybe have like your own operation of like crafting equipment from the ore that you find in there. Maybe that's something you want to do. Who knows why? But whatever. Maybe you want a goat farm, so you start setting up goats here alongside the rest of the community, having your own goat farm unto itself, a ranch that can be maintained separately, and you can just start dropping in these little franchises, communities, whatever. Like you could form your own community on this asteroid over here if you wanted to. Maybe it's only 8 miles in diameter, right? So it's not big enough to have spherical gravity, but it's a good chunk of land that you could build on. So maybe you do. So those are the different things you can play out with this. So looking at building a community, right? And if anyone has any questions, you're welcome to ask. But if you really want to dive deep into it, again, all these things are linked down here. Here's the campaign we're currently building. Here's the Spelljammer book that we're building the Mecha and the Kaiju from. That's already on DMsGuild. It's already been updated for 2024 mechanics. It works great. The Bastion campaign that we're currently building our settlement with right now is here. It's read-only right now until it gets published. Spelljammer subclasses, that's not something that we're currently looking at here, but we created unique subclasses for our Spelljammer book that we will also be building into a supplement that will complement this and bundle together and reduce the cost on stuff. The Warforged machines, this is the Mecha Kaiju supplement. Again, these are all read-only documents for now, and once they get published on the DMsGuild, they'll be, you can 100% free preview. You can check them out then. But okay, great. So we've got 13 points. We're putting 3 in our pocket. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Look at that, 13 points. Fuck.
Oh boy. Okay, so I don't have any points left. So that means I can't add any other significant structures here. We don't have enough gold to maintain a lifestyle right now, and that's a problem. You have to basically the 13 points, like these 10 points here are basically being like maintaining concentration or like tapping mana in Magic the Gathering. We've permanently tapped these 10 points to sustain these different facilities. If we take 10 points of damage to our Bastion, it could wipe out all of them, and they don't work until we repair them. But as it stands, assuming that everything's in working order, we've got 10 Bastion points worth of facilities in here. We also but we could, like on the next turn, we could swap out some of these points to build a different type of facility. And at the end, and then the following turn, we'd actually be able to start using those facilities. But for now, this is basically like a reserve list. This is how we are maintaining our mana pool, basically. These are the things that we're tapping concentration on. The extra 3 points is a pocket. That gives us extra, like we know at second rank, we have 3 orders. One order is to maintain our lifestyle. We'll look at that in a second. And then the other 2 orders can be, the other 2 points could be used to, like if we have a failure, we could then spend a point to issue another order. Because we're going to spend 2 points, and those 2 points are probably going to be spent on harvesting goats and harvesting electrum. Those are the 2 resources that they have. That's probably what they're going to do. That means that they'll use up all 3 of their orders. So if they have a complication, like jellyfish are eating our goats, drive them away. I won't have any additional points left to issue extra orders. Each additional order I issue requires me to spend a Bastion point that turn, and then at the end of the turn I get all the points back. If I want to keep all my facilities, I just leave those points invested. So at the end of the next Bastion turn, I won't get 13 points back. I'm already using 10 points, and I'll get these 3 spent points back if I needed to have spent them. See, it's just you're maintaining, like once you have a Bastion point, it's basically like a spell point pool, and each long rest or Bastion turn or week that you spend, these Bastion points or this mana is all spent on different stuff that you want to do. It also acts as your hit points. So if the facilities take damage, they go down. You can't use those facilities anymore. So if I was making a magic item in the workshop, for instance, like maybe like a collar of location. I want to build a bunch of collars so that if my goats roam free, I can go find them easily, like with a cantrip. But if my workshop gets damaged, I can't build those collars anymore until the workshop is repaired. The workshop is only first rank, so it only needs 1 hit point of healing, and we're going to be rolling a 1d whatever. We're second rank, so we're going to be rolling a 1d6 when we do repairs. We're guaranteed to be able to at least repair the workshop, but if we roll a 6, there's a number of things that we can do. We can sacrifice our pocket first. If the pocket hasn't been spent and we take damage, we can spend out of pocket first to prevent our facilities from taking damage. If we outstrip our pocket, sorry, you're not going to be able. You're going to have to give up some of these facilities. If it's sabotage, the saboteur gets to choose which facility is damaged. If it's a general siege, like kaiju attacking, that's a general siege. They don't know what they're fucking stepping on. They don't care. So if it's general siege, the defender gets to decide what gets destroyed. So saboteur chooses a specific target and damages it. In general siege, you just take damage, and the defender decides what they're willing to lose, what they have to give up from those Bastion points. So, and now we're looking at lifestyle. So looking at every facility is required to maintain a lifestyle. So let's kick on down here. A lifestyle basically indicates the economic health of your community. There are 7 degrees of lifestyle in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And there's Wretched, which is basically sleeping outdoors and letting monsters eat you. There's Squalid, which is buildings that aren't secured, very little security. You could be eaten by a group. Poor, the minimum level lifestyle that you can maintain and have security for anyone living there, is the doors are locked, crime is relatively low, there's still risk,
but at least keeps you from being actively threatened, and you don't have to hunt for food. There's enough infrastructure that can be maintained in the community that we can maintain a poor lifestyle for everyone. If you can't maintain a poor lifestyle for your community, it is going bankrupt. And if you keep failing to maintain at least a poor lifestyle for your community, it will eventually revolt and disband, and the community will be lost. And you would then lose your resources and all the stuff that went into it. It would all just disperse. So there's 5 ranks. You can see here there's a DC. If you roll less than a 5, you have failed into a wretched lifestyle. There is anarchy in your community. Narrate it as you please. If you roll 5 to 9, it is squalid. Times are really rough. There's rioting in the streets. Homes are being looted. There's no guarantee of security. Poor lifestyle, you only have to roll a DC of 10 to be able to hit that. And if you want to maintain that lifestyle, you have to spend 1 resource point for however long your community can maintain it. A first rank Bastion can't maintain a lifestyle. It gets reset every week. So you're constantly trying to upgrade to 2nd rank, because at 2nd rank, you only have to make a lifestyle check once a month. And once you hit a lifestyle you can live with, you could then lock in that number of points for that month. So, like, let's say I had a poor lifestyle, and I was maintaining that for a month, and I only had 1 point spent to make sure that lasts a full month. Otherwise, I have to re-roll every week. When it's poor, who cares? So the first week, I roll a poor lifestyle. I'm not going to maintain that with a point because I'm going to re-roll next week anyway. So I'm going to re-roll, and let's say I get a 20. It's now a comfortable lifestyle that I've managed to maintain for my community. If I don't expend 3 Bastion points to sustain, like tap mana, to sustain that comfortable community, I have to re-roll again next week. And any week that I roll less than my current lifestyle, I create a complication, some sort of civic disrest that is going to require either an additional order, which will cost me a Bastion point, to try to quell, or it becomes an adventure that the characters go on dealing with riots and protests and strikes and new bargains and blah, blah, blah. That might not sound very exciting or exotic as an adventure, but it just kind of depends on what your team composition is. But if I wanted to do a hack and slack, gun run, fight pirates mission, I would not force my characters to sit here and deal with geopolitics to make sure that the community is happy because we've taken a dip in our lifestyle this week. Like, that's a bullshit activity. That's something that honestly, that's a good way to eat up orders from your Bastion to help simplify running that turn for that particular community, you see? So, but we'd have to have 3 points available. We have currently cashed out all 13 points that we have. So if I'm going to maintain a lifestyle, it's going to come from my pocket. And with only 3 points available, I can't hit something better than a comfortable lifestyle. But that comfortable lifestyle requires a DC result of 20. And at 2nd rank, I'm only rolling a D6 plus 2 on top of my D20. So I'm going to get a range of anywhere from 4 to 28. And I have to hit a 20. So I basically have roughly a 1 in maybe a 35%, maybe 40% chance of being able to hit a comfortable lifestyle for this community. I don't expect it. I expect to be poor or modest. So let's before we move on, let's take a look. I think the storehouse, maybe the guild hall, barracks, stables, workshop. So we're going to go to points, facility, and then benefits. So let's look at what each one of these things do. Barracks. What does a barracks do for us? Barracks. So let's look at all the different facilities. So in this Bastion system, facilities have 3 types of benefits. When you install a facility into your Bastion or in your community and you have access to it, there's basic facility benefits, there's unique orders, and there are downtime activities. So there are facility benefits, downtime activities, and orders that can be issued. You can have up to 3 things. Like the Archives, for instance, has 2 basic facility benefits and 1 order that can be issued to it uniquely. An Armory has 1 basic facility benefit, and there's 2 types of orders that can be issued to it. The Auction House has a basic facility benefit and 2 types of unique orders that can be issued to it. So here we are at Barracks. It has 2 basic facility benefits, and it has a basic order. So the basic order is when I issue the recruit action, I can issue the recruit order with this facility to attract mercenaries to defend our bastion, or to form an army to attack a rival bastion or settlement, as detailed in the issuing order section below. Since we're 2nd rank, we can recruit up to 100 soldiers. To recruit that many, it would be a DC 15, and we're not guaranteed to get all 100 right away unless we're in a community that's large enough to support getting 100 soldiers. So like inside of our own community with only 349 people, it's possible that we can get 100 of them to volunteer, or we could potentially draft 100 of them to be soldiers. It would certainly first rank barracks. Thank you. You can have 10 soldiers. 2nd rank 100, 1,000, 10,000, and then for at 5th rank, for every additional point you spend, it's an additional 10,000 that you can have in your barracks, or like your standing army, right? So what do we get? So if we issue the recruit order, which would be a D20 plus our rank, which is 2, plus the general bastion die that we get is a D6. So if we issue the recruit order to hire more troops, we roll a D20 plus 2 plus D6 and hope to get at least a 15 to be able to potentially get anywhere near 100 troops on that poll. If we hit the 15 and we're in a community large enough to do it, we'll get our 100 troops. If we don't roll that 15, we run into a complication. We can't get enough people to recruit. We can get maybe 10, but we couldn't get 100, and there's something going on that's preventing us from being able to recruit all of these men. If we can find out what the problem is and solve it, then those 100 people that we're offering to recruit, they'll jump on board. But we have to take care of whatever the problem is first, and that's up to the DM and the players to brainstorm and kind of microscope, like what would be a fun adventure that you guys would want to go on. Why do you think that the soldiers aren't willing to recruit? What's going on in the world? Maybe the DM has a couple ideas. I could kick it out to the players. It's like, hey, I don't care about the consequences here, so make up something. What would work with your backstory that could be a complication that's arising that will weave your character's imagined like you as a player, the imagined backstory you have for your character. What could we build together as co-DMs to create a scenario where you're going to get what you want for your character advancement, and then I can fill in all the details with surprises and all the little twists and turns of the campaign that I know about that you don't yet. So give me a scenario where you can play into, that you'll be excited to play into, that you want to show up and play. I will build that encounter or that series of events as your complication, and when you go through that series of events, your character will be more developed. You might get some more ask items or some leads on something, but that complication will be resolved. So then at the end of the Bastion turn, you get the 100 soldiers that you were trying to recruit because you succeeded at the adventure to clear the obstacle that were preventing them from showing up. You see how that works? It's like the best thing for theater kids. You get to be a partial DM while leaving it mostly in the hands of somebody else. If you want to delve into a deep, dark past that's got all sorts of convoluted turns, well, when complications arise, try to work with the DM to work your character's backstory into something relevant that's going to get fulfilled as a result of resolving this complication. And that helps get characters of players emotional buy-in to the campaign so that they want to see it succeeding because they see that the DM, you, are allowing this campaign to be built around who their characters are, so they get a bigger level of ownership. So when they remember this campaign, it won't just be, what's the cool thing that I did? What's the cool thing that we did as players to build this community so that my cool bard could seduce the dragon or whatever? So,
What else happens? When issuing a defend order to protect the Bastion from attacks, you can roll an additional Bastion die up to the value listed for the rank of the facility. So, like our barracks is second rank. So if we're going to issue an order to defend our community from giant jellyfish eating everything, we're going to roll a d20 plus 2 plus 2 6-sided dice. One because we're second rank Bastion, and another because we get an extra die from our second rank Bastion. We'll now roll those 2 6-sided dice and keep the best result, add it to 2, and the d20 result, and that will be our check. We know the jellyfish are a second rank threat, which means they have a DC 15. So on that d20 plus 2 plus keep the best of 2d6, we need a target number of 15. If we succeed, we're able to do enough damage to jellyfish to drive them away before they do any significant damage. If we fail the die roll, we'll take the d6 points of damage to our Bastion, disabling some of our facilities in the process, and requiring us to spend the next Bastion turn repairing this thing to get back up in full operations again. And you didn't resolve the jelly threat. Like, the jellyfish aren't intimidated, so there's a risk that like jellyfish will come back, or there could be an additional complication. The DM could decide, like if you roll a natural 1 on trying to repel the jellyfish, not only do you fail at repelling the jellyfish, but you create an additional complication on top of that. Like maybe these aren't just jellyfish. Maybe there's actually regals, or what are they called? Hestane was a regent. Is that what they're called? Regents? I can't remember. But they have like these sentient jellyfish sidekicks that they fly around in. Maybe this jellyfish, this school of jellyfish is actually minions to a regent's aesthetic jellyfish, and it's a herd of allies. So maybe they're specifically targeting the community, and things just got a hell of a lot worse for the team. Maybe, whatever. A billion reasons. That's where your creativity comes in, and crafting your world around you. We create prompts for you based on the success or failure of the orders that you're issuing to these Bastions, and that generates adventure hooks for us. That's what it means to be a Bastion campaign. To run on a week, like on a monster of the week, like tragedy of the week. Each Bastion turn is a week in the campaign, so each week a new Bastion turn, new events, complications, and opportunities arise to naturally generate, kind of like a hex crawl, generate a Bastion campaign from the start through time to the end, where maybe you become 5th rank, maybe you have smaller objectives than that, whatever the objective of the campaign is. Ours is strictly just to go from level 5 to 14. The team is welcome to accumulate Bastion points as they find capable of doing. But again, if they strip past 3rd rank, they'll be outranking the community that they exist inside of. So they're not going to have to start to reach out to other communities to find somebody that can operate at the 4th rank to help fund and provide them with materials they need to operate at above 3rd rank power. See how that works? So so that's what the barracks does. That is recruit plus recruit and plus 1d6 for defense and attacks. When using the attack order to siege a rival bastion or settlement, you can roll an addition of bastion die up to the value listed for the rank of the facility. Again, you're making an attack roll against a community. A 3rd rank community has a 10, 15, 20, 20 armor class 20, DC 20 to damage it. If you're a 3rd rank army, or if you're a 3rd bastion sending an army to attack another bastion, you're going to roll a d20 plus 3 plus d8, because of 3rd rank bastion gets a d8, and I'm trying to damage. I have to hit at least an armor class 20, DC 20 on that d20 plus 3 plus d8. My maximum is going to be a 31, so I'm basically got a 1 in 3. I've got a 1/3 chance of being able to successfully damage a 3rd rank bastion or a 3rd rank community with my 3rd rank army when I attack. And if I deal damage, I'll do d8 points of bastion point damage to that community, just like we've been talking.
And then recruiter, we're looking at it again. So recruiting and +1 d6 for defense and attacks. What's next? Guild Hall. Let's go down and look at the Guild Hall. Guild Hall, basic facility benefits. When issuing a crafting order to create non-magical items, you can roll an additional Bastion die equal to the rank of the facility. So our Guild Hall is second rank. That's a D6. The Bastion is a D6. His second rank is a D6. So again, D20 +2 plus 2d6. Keep the best D6 result for your check. So that would be to track. Okay, we can recruit experts. And we can issue the trade order to acquire materials or non-magical items of value or rarity listed for the rank of the facility. So we have a second rank guild hall, but like our community has animal and it has mineral materials. If we wanted plant materials, we could then use our guild hall to trade with another community that's also second rank or higher to import those materials that we needed. Like maybe we needed to make, maybe we wanted to make a bag of magic beans. Well, we're going to need to have sufficient materials of exotic quality to be able to create that bag of magic beans from. So we're going to have to find some place that has second rank resources that are vegetation to provide those materials for us, you see? So this community doesn't do it, so they can't do it themselves. They have to spend a resource point establishing a trade route with somebody who does, and that takes time. Recruiting and trading, and then when issuing the trade order. Okay, so recruit and trade and +1 d6 for craft order. That's what the guild hall does for us. Stable, smithy, storehouse, workshop, smithy. So we go down to the smithy. A smithy. It provides a basic facility benefit of when issuing the harvest order to acquire mineral materials, you can roll an additional Bastion die equal to the rank of the facility. And it has the craft order to make non-magical items and the empower order to make magical items that are armor, ring, rod, weapon, or wondrous items. Basically implements, but so that's going to be craft and empower and +1 d6, 1d4 is only first rank, so it's not 1d6, it's 1d4 for harvest order. So when I'm harvesting Electrum, because that's what this community does, it harvests Electrum. When I make my harvest check, I'm going to roll a d20 +2 because of the rank of Crag Falls, a d6 because of the rank of Crag Falls, and a d4. And if the d4 result is higher than the d6, I'll use the d4 result instead. So like if I roll a 3 on the d6 and a 4 on the d4, I'll keep the 4, get rid of the 3, and that's +2, so it'll be a d20 +6. And as long as I get second rank, then I'll be able to produce second rank worth materials of minerals for people to make use of in crafting and empowering and all the blah blah. It's like we don't care specifically what the item is. We only care like there's 3 types of materials: animals, plants, minerals, and what rank it is. So if we want to make something, like if I want to make a suit of armor, I want to make a suit of plate armor, a full plate armor. Full plate armor costs 1,500 gold pieces. That puts it in, so common items are up to 100 gold. Uncommon items are up to 400 gold. Rare items are up to 4,000 gold value. Very rare items are up to 40,000, and legendary up to 200,000. So if I want a suit of plate mail that costs 1,500 gold, that is a third rank or a rare level of difficulty to produce. On a scale of 1 to 5, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So a suit of armor requires a difficulty of 20 to craft. If I am crafting with my smithy or my armory, I have a first rank smithy here. So if I'm second rank, which means I'm not third rank. The plate mail is a third rank task. I could attempt it, but since my rank is lower
than the rank of the item I'm trying to make, I'm going to roll with disadvantage. So the d20 is going to be rolled twice. I'm going to take the worst result there, but I'm going to just roll my six-sided die and my four-sided die. I'm just going to keep the best result of those two, and then I get my +2 from the rank of the settlement, the rank of the of the settlement of the Bastion. Then there you go. So if I want to start making suits of armor, I'm going to need to have a 3rd rank smithy. I'm going to have a 3rd rank settlement to be able to support that smithy. And I'm going to have mineral materials of 3rd rank, so I have enough mineral, enough ore of high enough quality to be able to produce the suit of armor that I want. Now I don't have to worry about any other specific details. You see how it's actually very, very simple. Like, geopolitics are made very simple with this 1d4 with this resource system, because we can hand wave all the details. Also worth noting is you have to, if you want to create a trade line, if you want to create a trade route to import materials that are of a higher rank than your settlement, you have to maintain a lifestyle of equal rank to the materials that you want. So if I have a 4th rank Bastion in a 2nd rank community, and I want to start making 4th rank magic items, I'm going to have to maintain a wealthy lifestyle, which is a 4th rank lifestyle, for me to establish a trade line that's able to bring me 4th rank material. I need to create enough of an economic incentive with the quality of my lifestyle to say I can afford to purchase these things from you because I'm maintaining a 4th rank lifestyle. You see how that works? If I have a 4th rank lifestyle, I can afford any type of materials to build things with of 1st to 4th rank. But I can't maintain that lifestyle forever. I'm going to have to re-roll it eventually. And if I can't hit that DC 25 to maintain that 4th rank lifestyle, it's going to erode to whatever result I got, which means I'm going to lose access to any trade that would have granted me a higher rank material than the settlement I'm supporting is in. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. It all curves together, and it just becomes like, it's a very modern D20. The old 3rd edition modern setting is called Modern D20 that they came out with. They didn't track gold. They didn't track dollars in your bank account. They had a wealth check that if you wanted to purchase something, the value of it in cash determined the DC of rolling it, of being able to afford that thing right now. And if it's like on the edge, you could roll with disadvantage. If you roll particularly poorly, you might be able to afford it, but now you lose a lot of you lose modifiers on your dice, so it's more difficult for you to roll that again until your wealth can be repaired or like heal itself by regrowing more wealth. It's a really efficient system, and this 5th edition version of it is even more efficient than what the original D20 system was. So I'm really particularly proud of this one, honestly. It works really well. But we don't have anything yet that is going to modify. I'm accumulating these benefits here so I can see if our maintaining our lifestyle is going to get modified or not. Lifestyle. In the pocket 3. So I'm probably going to have to take out of my pocket to build the lifestyle, or I'm going to have to fatigue one of these facilities. So this place needs help. Let's go. So that's the smithy. Let's go to stables. Facility benefit. When you're taking the harvest order to acquire animal materials, you can roll with an additional Bastion die. So we're going to plus 1d6 for harvest animal materials. Harvest animal order. Harvest mineral order. What else you got, stables? Familiar scent. This is the first example of downtime activity. So if our characters spend a full Bastion turn working the stables, you gain Familiar Scent. A character that spends a Bastion turn in this facility gains the benefits of the Animal Friendship spell with animals trained at this facility for a number of Bastion turns equal to the rank of this facility. So our stables are currently 2nd rank. So if we were like training Pegasi, for example, we could potentially train Pegasus or Griffins in these stables. And if we did, those Griffin and Pegasi would view us with Animal Friendship, meaning they would automatically have a friendly disposition to us until we attack them. Which would be really beneficial with dangerous animals like that. So that is an example of a downtime activity that we acquire. It's more of a narrative element than anything, but having Animal Friendship with anything that you're currently attempting to train in your facilities, that's great. Trade. You can issue the trade order to acquire and train animals as mounts. The type of creature that can be acquired and trained is determined by the rank of the facility. So 1st rank can train up to CR1, 2nd rank CR5, 3rd rank 9, 4th rank 13, 5th rank is 14 plus. And the amount of time it takes to train them is based on their CR, which is either up to CR5 is a week, up to CR13 is a month, and anything that's above CR13 requires an entire season. Asteroid spiders, purple worms, category 3 Krasis from Ravnica. Those are examples of CR14 plus rank 5 creatures that you could train. But let's get down here to like a Skyjack rock, some scavers, an elephant, a warhorse, riding ponies, mules, a gray scaver. These are the rank of creatures that we can train currently because we're only 2nd rank. So trade. So let's go with trade. And I'm not going to list the downtime activities because I'm only listing the things that modify with how the Bastion settlement operates. So that's stables. Let's go to the storehouse. Order trade. You can issue the basic trade order to have any type of material, non-magical items, or plans of item creation delivered to the Bastion. The benefits of a storehouse, getting access to anything that we want. If you want to make a magic item, you have to have the plans, a sufficient ranks facilities, and the materials necessary of a similar size rank to the item that you're trying to create. So that's going to be trade, and when you issue the craft order to create non-magical items, you get an additional die. And when you issue the harvest order to acquire any type of material, you can roll an additional Bastion die. And plus 1d6, because the 2nd rank is a d6 for craft and all harvest, and harvest all order, and harvest all orders. Mineral. So now, when we're harvesting minerals from our electro mine, we get our raw D6 from the rank. We get an extra D6 because of the storehouse. And we get a D4 from the smithy. So we'll roll 2D6 and 1D4. And of those 3, whichever result is the highest, we'll add that to 2 and the D20 result for our harvesting check. And then finally, we have the workshop. So there's no facility benefits, there's no downtime activities, there's just orders. Here's what we can do with them. Craft. You can issue a craft order to create non-magical items. Empower. You can issue the empower order to create magic items, which includes implements, reins, rods, and wondrous items. You can issue the recruit order, and if you do, you can order the facility to coax a spirit into the body of a golem constructed in this facility to serve as a hireling and defend the bastion. The CR of the golem created this way is determined by the rank of the facility as listed below. So we have a second rank. We have a 1st rank workshop. So currently we can make animated armor, homunculus, iron defenders, but if we upgrade it to 2nd rank, we can make an animated ballista, which would be really fucking helpful if we wanted to. Animated ballistas don't need crew.
they act as their own crew. So you don't have to have a bunch of extra characters on the back of your mecha operating a ballista if you have an animated ballista on your ship. So that would be an interesting thing that the team might want to pick up. You can also have a flesh golem or a helmed horror. Note down here, you can have a number of golems defending your bastion equal to the rank of this facility. So at first rank, we can only have 1 golem. At second rank, we can have 2 golems. At fifth rank, plus however many points we have, like I could dump 10 points into my bastion and have 10 golems, for instance. While a golem remains within the bastion and the workshop is undamaged, the constructs can be commanded without difficulty. If any of the constructs leave the facility, if any of the constructs leave the bastion, or if the workshop is damaged, the golem can break free and act independently until it can return to the until it's returned or the facility is repaired. Same thing with undead with the crypt. You can create these things to be interesting things to defend your fortress, but if you try to take them with you, they're really fucking dangerous. So be careful. So it's designed to keep the CR of the thing that you're bringing with you in pace as though it were like a sidekick. And your DM should have rules about sidekicks, whether you allow them or not. That is an ongoing DM decision and discussion to keep updating as your characters gain higher proficiency bonuses. You need to keep updating that conversation every time you gain a proficiency bonus, because that's when your campaign shifts gears. When at level 1, 5, 9, 13, 17, these are all legit changes. It's not 4 tiers at like level 1, 5, 11, 17. It's actually, there's 5 gears to a campaign. 1, 5, 9, 13, 17. 6th level spells are not crazy world-changing magic. 5th level spells are crazy world-changing magic. So the actual power break in your campaign is at 9th level when they get those 5th level spells. Those 7th level spells at 13. Those 9th level spells at 17th level. Those are your natural breaks. And you should build your I suggest that you build your campaign around the 5 gear stick instead of a 4-tier challenge. So that way you can more properly pace the scale and scope of your campaign to match what characters are actually able to do at the levels of at these different 5 breakpoint levels of half-casters. So that's just, I'll make a video about that for you guys. It'll be a published video. It'll be pretty with a script and shit. Stay tuned, like and subscribe. Cheers. Okay, great. So recruit, empower, and craft. Craft. And empower. And recruit. There. So those are the different facilities we have. These are the benefits that they provide. None of these benefits are going to help our lifestyle at all. So we're just going to have to roll a naked lifestyle roll. Second rank means a D6 plus 2, and then the D20 on top of it. I don't get any advantage or anything else. So I rolled a... Ouch, fuck. I rolled a 6 on the 20. I rolled a 2 on the 6-sided die, and I get a plus 2 bonus from the... for being second rank. That's a 10. I currently have a poor lifestyle. It costs 1 Bastion point to maintain that, but I have to re-roll it again anyway next week, so I'm not going to spend any points on maintaining that. So my pocket remains at 3. If I can somehow get more Bastion points into this community before the end of the next turn, like during this first adventure turn, we can potentially upgrade and improve this place. I don't know if it's going to happen. 0 points spent on lifestyle, maintaining a poor lifestyle. 0 lifestyle poor. Not maintaining. There, that's my basic community. It's a second rank community. Hold on real quick. 1, 2, 3. We have a number of unique unique bastions in the community
we have a number of unique bastions equal to the rank of the community. So a second rank community or settlement is going to have 2 unique structures inside it on top of all of these. Like by unique, I mean its own bastion unto itself, like an NPC bastion. There's going to be the government building, which is the actual bastion that's controlling the community, and then there's another one with enough repute to be a point of interest in that community unto itself. So we're going to create separate bastions. We're going to create separate bastions for those on top of just crag falls in general. So give me a second here. Let's look at orders. So I have orders and then unique bastions. So we'll go with orders. We always have to maintain. Poor. We're issuing the order to harvest. Harvest mineral. And harvest animals. Food for community. Food outsourcing for Capital Rock, because they're going through a cold snap. They have a shortage on crops right now, so they have to import more than usual. By maintaining a poor lifestyle, the community automatically has enough food for everyone to be able to eat. It's basically placing that you can maintain a poor lifestyle here, but because the community is so beat up, it can't do better than that. The best narrative I can provide for that right now is the unnatural cold that this community, Redstone, and Capital Rock are sitting inside of. Hold on, I'll show you the map. This is an influence, like a manifest zone of Frisia that is currently in orbit that's affecting half of our community. Capital Rock, Redstone, and was it Granite Falls? Crag Falls, thank you. Crag Falls, Redstone, and Capital Rock. These 3 are having damage to their crops and their food supply because of how cold the Frisia zone is. This is a new recent development, only a couple weeks old, but it's already having a heavy impact on the supply, on the food supply in these areas. Area 4, 5, and 6 are spending additional orders, creating additional food to pipe off to this part of the community, while meanwhile there's migrants moving from 2, 3, and 1 into 6, 4, and 5 respectively. If this cold snap keeps up and migration keeps moving, Capital Rock will drop down to 2nd rank and Farhope will grow to 3rd rank, and it could potentially usurp and gain control as the Capital Rock inside of this cluster facility, being the largest, most important location. That would probably reduce Capital Rock down to just being a smelting refinery with some trees, and for harvesting wood. But the bulk of culture would move to Farhope, and the players can influence that if they want, assuming that the cold snap from the Frisia manifest zone doesn't resolve itself. By the time Frisia comes back around in orbit and passes through this area again, it'll either make the zone go away and weather will return to normal, the moon won't influence it at all, and it will just persist for another cycle, or Frisia, the moon could actually intensify the manifest zone and make it even more dangerous and collapse food supplies in these areas even quicker. So that's a serious threat. But for 5th level characters, it might be more than they can chew, and you might just have to tolerate it for a while. Otherwise, you're going to potentially spend weeks in the manifest zone trying to figure out how to solve the problem or whose head you have to bash. Meanwhile, no one is going to be protecting your community from pirate attacks, kaijus, and raiders. So, big conflict there. Nice nastiness to drop the characters into about decision making right off the cuff. But that's the way I like to do it. What can I say? So, harvesting minerals, food outsourced for Capital Rock, harvest minerals, electrum, ore. There you go. Those are our 3 orders. We have a pocket of 3 in case something goes awry. We're not currently using them. So we could issue additional orders if we needed to. Or if any of these botch and fail and a complication arises, we can use this pocket to attempt to resolve the complication. You only get 1 complication per week. So if we have a complicate, like let's do our Electrum ore. We're trying to harvest 2nd rank worth of materials from the Electrum ore each week. That's going to be a DC 15 because it's 2nd rank. And let's look at our harvesting orders. We have harvest animals, harvest all, harvest minerals. So we get 3 dice, 2d6 and 1d4 plus d20 plus 2 to see if we can get a DC 15. So I'm going to go ahead and make that roll so you guys can see what a turn looks like. I rolled the highest die I rolled is, I rolled a 1 on the D4, a 1 on one of the D6s, and a 4 on the other D6. So I'm going to keep the 4. I'm going to add it to 2 because the 2nd rank, that's a 6. And the result I got was, a 19. So 19 plus 6, that's a DC 25. So I hit 4th rank quality Electrum in that mine right now. So harvest material, Electrum ore. Result, DC 25. Very rare. That's 4th rank. 4th rank quality. Harvest animals. Result, DC, and then maintain lifestyle. Result, DC 10. 1st rank. There. And now let's roll our animal. So we look at our stable, 2nd rank, plus D6 to harvesting animals. And our storehouse, 2nd rank, is harvest all orders. So we get to roll, and then materials. There we go. Okay, so we get 3d6, keep the best result, plus 2 plus d20 for harvesting animal materials. This is going to determine how much extra food we get to send to Capital Rock to help support its population. I'm sorry, that's not correct. Because we're under duress, we aren't automatically creating food. So we are actually having to waste an order to make an unnecessary harvest check, specifically to see if we currently have enough food to assist our own population. So it's a DC 15. Normally we wouldn't have to do that. Our lifestyle is already determined that we're good. But because of this Frisia complication, I'm forcing us to expend an order just to harvest the food that we need to maintain our society. So, but it's going to be 3d6 plus 20 plus d2, and we only have to hit a DC 15. So we should be okay. Because it's a 2nd rank community with 736 people in it. As a 2nd rank population, we have to get at least a 15 2nd rank result to make sure there's enough food for that entire population. You see how that works? If it was a town with over 1,000, like 2,000 people in it, we'd have to hit a DC 20 to be able to feed all those people up to 10,000. See how that goes? So let's make our check. High die, I rolled a 3, 4, and a 5 on the 20-sider, so I'm going to keep the 5. I get my plus 2 because of the rank of the Bastion, so it's a 7. And I rolled an 11. That's an 18. So I was able to roll high enough. $18. 3rd rank quality. Third rank supply of food. So we're able to basically take care of ourselves and enough excess for an additional 100 people for a first rank community. So let's take a quick look here. 2nd rank, 3rd. Okay, so we've got I want to say 6,000, I think there's 1,052 or something like that in Castle Rock right now, which is 3rd rank. But an extra 100 might actually be helpful. So we're going to keep track of that as a potential added food supply that's necessary. And holy shit, it's 9:15 here in Seattle. So that's technically the base of our of Crag Falls. When we come back, I'm going to go ahead and cut here just to get some stuff done. But we're going to have a unique bastion, and we're going to need to have a governing bastion, which is going to have bastion, copy. Like I said, we can have 2 unique bastions because this is a second rank settlement. One is going to be the capital, the governing bastion, which is also has to be second rank because the community is second rank, and it's going to have the government and settlement facilities automatically. To govern a settlement, you have to have the government facility and the settlement facility. A bastion without a settlement but a government facility can issue orders to other bastions or other settlements that this governing bastion is not inside of. Like, for example, the capital of Cormyr, I'm not sure what the capital of Cormyr is offhand, but the capital of Cormyr has to be 5th rank to be able to command Waterdeep, even though, like, it's not Silverwood. I forget the name of the capital of Cormyr, but whatever that is, it itself might only be like a city. It might not be a metropolis, but it has enough infrastructure and administrative strength to be 5th rank, to be able to issue orders that Waterdeep will follow. It could be that Waterdeep is actually the capital of Cormyr. I don't think it is, though. Anyway, that's how that works. And then the orders that you issue is lifestyle. And we don't have another trade. We don't have another trade set up, but it'll have 3 orders. So we're going to build out this unique governing bastion, the same as we built out the community. But because it's a unique bastion, it might have access to different facilities inside its structure that generally Crag Falls as a community doesn't. So it's an interesting way to be able to create points of interest that have resources and facilities that your characters are going to want at a standout location that becomes just natural points of interest inside of the community. And that's how you can build cities and towns and stuff like that, by breaking them up into boroughs and wards and then having points of interest inside of those wards. And we're going to continue developing this on our next session. But I'm going to go ahead and hit the brakes here for now, just because it's not, I've been at this for like almost 3 hours now, and I want to get some Eberron adventure work done tonight, so we can keep moving towards hopefully getting that book published late December, early January. So, boy, we're really getting close. For those that are new to the channel, I do artwork for my books Monday through Fridays in the mornings every day, every week. And then on Mondays and Thursday nights, we do game design like this. And then on Saturday mornings, we work on the Magic the Gathering color mana system and the martial power system for mana for martial characters. And we'll eventually hopefully get some Strixhaven combat sport going on my Discord server for us to do some playtesting with. And we'll be doing this campaign as a playtest campaign for Mecha, Kaiju, and Bastions. We'll be doing that probably in February after the Eberron book has been published. That's going to allow us to reset our work docket and build differently. I'll have the bandwidth to actually be able to build adventures for an ongoing campaign like this, which I'm really excited to do from level 5 to 14. We're going to do that on my Discord. We're going to use my Roll20 account for the tabletop. And we're going to keep it loose and casual. But that's going to be it for now. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning. We're working on monster art for Eberron. And I won't be here on Thursday night. I actually have some medical stuff going on Thursday night and Friday. So I will be AFK Thursday night, Friday morning. I'll be back online on Saturday morning. And maybe we'll do some Strixhaven. Maybe we'll do some Mage Tower stuff on Saturday. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do. We might do more of this. We might do Color Mana. We might do Strixhaven Mage Tower. I don't know. But if you think this stuff is cool, this is the kind of stuff that I do. All my stuff kind of feels like this and curls into each other like this. So if you think that's cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. Be welcome to join my Discord community down below. Check my books out down below. If you wanna support me with money, then buy some of those books. God bless you. Or support me on Patreon for $1 a week. Once we get the Color Mana books converted, we're gonna be using our Patreon to start converting Magic the Gathering cards into feats, spells, classes, subclasses, powers, and magic items. So we'll have all the mechanical language for 5e24 that we need for all 14 character classes to all operate off of the Color Mana system. And now we'll actually start to be able to convert the catalog of MTG cards into D&D stuff for use in 5e. So, hey, thanks a lot. Again, thanks a lot. I know there's been a ton of people that have swum through and checked out the channel today. I really appreciate everyone that's been taking a look at this stuff. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We've got 624 of them. That's more than we had yesterday. So God bless you guys. I'll eventually be doing recorded content on like how to structure a campaign from level 1 to 20, how to reorganize combat into different types of action economy, and a lot of different fun ideas that we've talked about on the channel during art streams before. But I want to formalize into technical stuff for players to, and DMs alike to look at their campaign, to run them differently. So, again, thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate everybody. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Later.